Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we have something that, well, we kind of hope will be out of this world. Pardon the terrible pun. This is the brand new Too Faced Cosmic Crush eyeshadow palette. It is a $52 palette in their Born This Way layout. If you recall that, we'll look at it a little bit better, swatch it in two different lightings, and we will do two different looks. As you see, I have my makeup done, but I don't have anything on my eyes. I usually start with the finished product, but when I'm going to do two different looks, I kind of wait till the demo. So we'll get into all that right now. As I said, this latest palette from Too Faced is $52, and it is a metallic, shimmery, and matte pressed powder palette with 16 high pigment, they say futuristic shades in pressed palette. Does this one have a scent? Yes, they say it smells like apple cider. Well, let's be the judge of that. Let me give a sniffer. Yeah, I guess it kind of does. You know what it smells like? I put my nose on it. It smells like those candles, stay with me here, that you get around the fall that are supposed to smell like fall. They're supposed to smell like apple cider. It's that same fragrance that they put in here. You guys know what I mean. The air fresheners or the candles that are called fall, and they're kind of in little leaves and orange leaves, and that's what it smells like. And it's for fall, so that would make sense. It's a very pretty smell. And as we know, we'll test this in the demo, but as we know with Too Faced shadows, the scent is never overwhelming. You almost have to get it on your nose to sniff it, and then it does dissipate very quickly. So it's not, what I've found, not irritating. Now they had a Too Faced Too Femme palette. Do you guys remember that one? I swear that kind of felt like it was burning my eyelids, but there was no evidence of that on the skin. You know, like it wasn't red. I think it was in my head because it smelled floral. And I don't like floral scents, but I do okay with gourmand scents. Now, you might be thinking of some other Too Faced palettes that you saw released, and those are the Pop-Tart palettes. They released two less expensive Pop-Tart palettes, and against my own best judgment, I did purchase those, so I will have a separate review if you're looking for those coming very soon. I purchased them after this one because I hemmed and hawed and hesitated, and you can tell me in comments if that was a good idea or not. Something I'm noticing already, which is really odd, the palette doesn't want to close. It is in a cardboard casing, and you have to kind of push the back. It's almost like the binding is a little off, and then it closes. But kind of left to its own devices, the binding, which looks like it maybe is broken a little bit, shifts and doesn't want to close. I don't know if you'll find that. I don't know if that would bother you. It can be manipulated to close, but I did want to mention it. This is an interesting palette just on the swatches. I'm slightly nervous to see what you guys will think, and I'm also going to put it on my eyes for the first time with you guys. I'm wondering how it will go. Let's see the swatches and you'll see what I mean. Check the swatches out first. We'll do natural light, but first, let's do studio lighting. And I won't spend a lot of time here because, gosh, they're kind of faint. And it's tough to see them, actually. Now, these all have names, all of the shades. During the demo, I will put those shade names on the screen. Kind of hard to see. I mean, like a really gentle, subtle palette. So subtle that I feel like we need to emphasize it by enunciating the silent B in subtle. So this is a very subtle palette, we're going to say. Take a look at them outside in the warm, very warm California sunshine. I'm going to spend a little bit more time looking at these swatches. Same swatches as indoors, but they just show a little bit better in the sunshine. And I thought that might give you a better idea of what the shades look like in this Cosmic Crush palette. Apple Crush is what it should be called. Yeah, candles. It smells like those Yankee candles. Drop a comment if you know what I mean by that, please. Now, the layout, as I mentioned, looks very similar, of course, to the Too Faced Born This Way. They've had two natural nude palettes that, are mostly kind of nude shades. These kind of fit in with that because these pinks and these mauves, I mean, there's a blue and a black and these kind of darker shades. It kind of fits in with the fact that these are slightly nude shades, rosy, gentle. These aren't really out of this world. We'll see if they build in a moment, but they're not really wild shades. Those of you who want to know about formula, they are pressed pigment, but we do have one or two shades that are metallic, and it looks like really one shade that's got a lot more kind of a crushed glitter to it. A lot of you with allergies and eye issues like to know that. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do 2 looks. The reason being, usually I would just do 1, but there's a lot of different shades in here, and I'm kind of curious about how these colors are going to perform because they were so gentle when I did the swatches. I want to know what we're going to have here and if I'm going to have some upset people that don't want to purchase this. So I don't want to say that because maybe you will. Let's take it off. Let's check it out. I have a bunch of clean rougher brushes up here. I'll put the names on the screen. Let's start here. For this look, let's start here. This side of the palette is a little bit browner, so let's do this first eye with that side of the palette there. And you'll barely see this on my eye, so it's mostly just to kind of make a nice surface. Look, I even kind of went under the eye. It's almost like I'm powdering with it. And this is a rougher number 1, one of my favorites. Not switching brushes at all. I'm sticking with that rougher number 1 and going into this shade right here and just kind of putting it on the outside part of the lid. Now there it is. I did wipe off the brush a little bit, but there it is. It's very gentle, kind of as we thought it would be. So I'm going to build it a little bit and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I think it's building. It's a lot nicer than Swatch. I will tell you, here's where my pre-prejudice bias comes in. I really like the 2 Born This Way palettes a lot. Okay, let's go down into this brown right here. Same brush. I know I haven't switched, and I'm just going to kind of run that into the crease the same way I would often run a bronzer into the crease. So that's my bias, is that I am biased towards liking this because I like the Born This Way palettes, but so far it's a little bit more subtle. I'll have to hear what you guys think of that. Now I'm going to take this look so far. Boy, is that subtle. What do you guys think? What do you think? Do you want me to put things on with a stiffer brush, perhaps? Maybe we should do that. Let's take that. Here's a stiffer, more packed brush. And let's take that shade there that I just put into the crease and do it a little more. This is a number 33 rougher, and it's a much kind of stiffer haired brush. It's not fluffy, and we're still getting gentle color payoff. And I will keep the same and use the shade right up here, right on that same brush. I could have used my fingers, and I think we're going to. Let's see if we can get a little bit more with the fingers on that one. Yeah, I like it much better with the fingers. You don't know, you got to experiment around. That's actually really pretty and a little bit deeper. It's interesting. It almost looks like the mattes here are really going to be gentle, and then you'll have a little bit more wow and impact from these metallic shades. And I'm going to go in right here to this shade right there, and let's gently make sure that's not too dark. It looks good. Let's just gently put that in the center and then kind of onto the eye, just for a little bit of added interest. And then I'm going to go underneath the eye with this shade right here. I wonder what we should do with this. I kind of want to use that. Okay, I'm going to go under the eye with that. And let's just for fun, okay? I'm wiping this off on my special issued pants there. This kind of a golden, kind of green golden shade, I'm just going to stick right into the center of the lid. I don't know if I do that for an everyday look, but just so we can test things. Very, very, very pretty. Let me cover this eye so as not to be confusing. Gentle though, isn't it? The metallics pack much more of a punch than the mattes, the mattes seem gentle and subtle, and that's clearly purposeful. Be curious to see what you guys think of that. Okay, let's go in now to this kind of pink purpley gray side of the palette. We are going to start with this shade right here. This is a Lisa Eldridge brush. It was in with my roughers, chilling out, hanging around, making friends. Okay, and here is a little bit more of an impact. This brush isn't as fluffy though. Not bad, not bad. Up into here. Now this is kind of a little bit of a metallic shade than I would normally use for the outer portion of the eye, but let's see how it builds up. Okay, a little bit better. And yeah, I don't think a big fluffy brush is going to be your best friend here, unless you really want it to be a diffused look. Okay, working with them to build. They do build, but you're not going to get punch of impact. It was tough right away. All right, let's see. Okay, let's go in here, and I'm going to try this just onto the center and outer portion of the eye and going up a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to take a pencil And same shade underneath. I'm getting a little, ooh, look at that underneath. I'm getting a little bit more impact, of course, with the denser brush, of course. And I'm getting a little more impact, as you can see already, out of this pink or gray purple side of the palette than I was out of the kind of tan and brown side. Okay, let's take this, I'll take a really tiny little rougher number 23 and go into this kind of pretty, almost duochrome shade right here. Trying to just work with a lot of the shades, guys, just so I can get a really good idea of how the palette looks. Okay, not a lot of impact there. This is a very dense brush, so let's just put on a little bit more. Okay, so we have two different looks in a palette that doesn't want to close unless, there we go. Got to kind of work on the binding there. But I do like this packaging, I really do. All right, let me take a look here. All right, let me give you a better look. Here, covering this eye, is the look we did with the kind of pinky, purpley gray side, and then the look we did with the kind of tan brown side. All right, so I already have an opinion here. I've been kind of expressing it throughout. A very pretty palette, not their best. I like Too Faced palettes. So let me just tell you where I'm coming from. And interestingly enough, not as a gimmick or tactic, I let you know at the beginning here that I am very predisposed to enjoying it, because I think that First Born This Way palette is one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes ever made. So this is slightly hard for me to say. I think there are a lot of pretty eyeshadow palettes that are being released right now. This one is, the scent is nice. The shades are pretty and buildable. If you really like a subtle look, if you're very timid with your eyeshadow, I think you could get a lot of pretty looks out of this. I do not think this is an ugly palette. I do not think it is poorly performing. I mean, the shades are very pretty on my eyes. I would have liked to see a little more payoff and a little more scrumptiousness. No, I don't exactly know what that means, but I hope you do. In the kind of caramely browns, I think a lot of these shades disappeared on my skin. Now, not everyone's skin is my skin tone. I'm a light, medium, neutral. I don't know what that necessarily means, and those of you with deeper and much lighter skin tones, please weigh in so that as a community we all know. But yeah, you know, I feel like I have rosy shades and I have tan shades that disappear on my skin, and I have rosy and tan shades that have a little bit more of a punch. Having said that, those of you who have been with my channel a lot know, I'm sorry I'm mismatched, hard to take me seriously like that, but those of you who have been with my channel a lot know that I like to build eyeshadow. I don't like it if it's overly pigmented, and yet I kind of feel this one is underwhelming. I feel we have these shades, and I feel I have these shades that perform a bit better. I'm ashamed to say it. Watch, I'm going to love the Pop-Tart one that I didn't want to buy, or ones that I didn't want to buy. So let's see what those Pop-Tart are like. They should be here in the next day or so. So we'll get that review up for you too. But on this one, guys, I'm not loving it. Gosh darn it. I really wanted to. I'm frankly just not. I'm sorry to say. All right, but weigh in. I don't know why I'm kind of whispering. It's like, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but it is the truth. I'm underwhelmed. All right, tell me what you guys, I'm disappointed though. Tell me what you guys think in these looks. Maybe you'll say, no, Rebecca, it's beautiful. I don't know. Let me know. It's what makes us a community. Even if we disagree, I don't mind. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I sure hope that you did. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already done so as we continue to march on. I'm so appreciative of all you lovely people who came to my live to celebrate 15,000. Let's do it again at 20,000. So help me build up. Come on over to Instagram and to TikTok and say a big hello, and don't forget that you can become more involved with this community by becoming a member of this channel. That information is in the drop down description below, and you can also give super thanks. But in any way that you choose to be here, my goodness, I'm thrilled to have you, thrilled to have your time, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next video. Bye bye, y'all.